Well, welcome back to Sam's Shine Up Shop here at Sam's Antique Motors. Today we're working on putting in the passenger side patch panels. I had envisions of doing all that on video, but I spent yesterday replacing all the patch panels on the driver's side, and that was about 8 hours of just beating and grinding and welding, and I'm not sure that's going to make a very good video. So thought today I would just kind of talk a little bit about what went into making this happen, and then I'm going to get to work on the passenger side to do the same thing. Well, this is the passenger side, and this looks a lot better than the driver's side. So these are the rocker panels, and you can see on this side here, not as bad as the other side. The floorboard's got a hole rusted clean through it, and then all the way down the inside of this rocker panel, you can see this is pretty badly rusted, including a hole all the way through there. Starts getting good back to the back here, and I'll show you on the other side. They actually make a patch panel piece that replaces both of these, the rocker panel and the floorboard. So that was the first thing that I did. So this is what all of these pieces look like on the other side. You can see I had to take a die grinder and just cut. I had to take a spot weld cutter and drill out the spot welds, die grinder to grind out, and a lot of this was just, you know, pure Swiss cheese. There's not much left of it. So I cut out both the inner panel and the rocker panel, and this, like I say, this just took several hours of work to make that happen. So now we're going to take a look at yesterday's progress. So on this driver's side, where all that was cut out, I've come back in here, I've welded in a new cab support through here. I've just got it all tacked in place now. I'm going to come back and do a final weld, but that's got that all tidied up nice and neat. And then I put in this inner floor support that really goes all the way to the back, and I stopped just forward of the rear cab support. You see there's some rust in here that's gone through this rear cab support, so I'll come in here later and replace all that. But got all that, put it back in, and then this was that rocker panel. So got a new rocker panel. Again, this is just tack welded, but I'll come in and re-weld all that back in. But this all looks nice and tidy. And I came in and put some marks where the old rocker panel was, so I know how to get it back exactly where it is. And I'm fixing to hang the door on here and just make for sure that this rocker panel is in the right place. And I learned a little trick from my friend Danny Garcia, that great painter over in cut and shoot area, to drill some little holes in here. So I drilled little 1/8 inch holes in each of these hinges. Once I get this door on and get it all lined up exactly where I want it, then I'll drill a hole through the body, and that way when I get this all painted up, all I have to do is just put a little ice pick in there and locate those holes, and the door will be exactly where it is. Cuts down on a lot of bolting and aligning, and more importantly scratching of finished paint. So that's pretty much where we are on this today. And this is kind of all the tools. My friend Nat said I should do a video of the tools that I have. So this table is what was required to get all this, the Dairy Queen cup. This table was welding gloves, big wire brush to knock off the dust once I got the panels out and the rust. And this is a spot weld cutter, and this is another spot weld cutter on a drill made by Blair. Hammers, grinders. This is a sheet metal cutter that goes in the impact wrench. So it just took an awful lot of stuff to make this, get these panels out. So I'm fixing to take on another day of it and see if I can get the passenger side done, and I'll report back when that work's done. Well, after 4 days of grinding, welding, beating, and fitting, I think I've got just about every rust hole filled in. Had to rebuild this lower part, had to rebuild all this upper part of the windshield. Several pieces across the top had rust holes in it. Put all that in there, filled all these seams, welded in the firewall hole where the blower is, put in new floor pans, new cab supports, new rocker panels, new cab corners, and I mounted all the doors and fenders on the cab, and then drew a line through all these molding holes and had to relocate several of them because they weren't lined up. Filled all the holes for the mirrors. These were not the correct mirrors. So actually they are the correct mirrors, but not what we're going to put back on. I used my vintage spot welder to come in here and spot in this little plate so that I could fill that in. And then I came in and welded up all these holes. For some reason there was a bunch of 3-inch screws through here, so I welded up those holes. New cab supports, front cab support. Probably don't need this clamp here. Welded in a new patch panel into the floor. Welded a patch onto the rear cab support. And again, put in a new cab support on this side. Kind of refabricated all these little fender mounts based on what I had. I didn't have all the pieces, but I got close. So now we're ready to paint the underside of this cab and then flip it up. We'll do a real good clean on it and then put epoxy primer to get it sealed up. And from there, we'll start working on bodywork. Today, we're working on filling in the bed stakes on this 72 C20 Highlander. Has 6 bed stakes in the bed. I'm not gonna ever be putting bed stakes in this truck, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill those in with a little plate, make them smooth and just a little customization element. To do that, I'm first going in, I made a template of the pocket size. So it's a little more than 1 3/8 by a little more than a 2. So I've got this template, and I'm making this in order to cut this out sort of exactly to the size of the pocket. Okay, now we've transitioned into the paint room where I'm doing all this weld up just to keep sparks and stuff from going everywhere else. And got my little plate here, and I'm going to do a little grinding to just clean this up. This tends to get a little hotter than the die grinder, so I'm going to put on some gloves. And I've got this really cool Milwaukee light that my friend Kevin gave me that works really good to give a little extra light on the subject. So. Edges ground down, and it might still be just a little bit large. So I also have these handy dandy little magnets. They're welding magnets. Yeah, it's just a little, looks like the width's okay. The length's just got just a hair to go. Perfect. I got that little pocket set in there, and I'll see if I can't move the camera over here to show you what that looks like. And now we're ready to weld this in. Well, now we got this piece all welded in. We got all of the spot welds finished up, welded all 4 sides, and then ground it down. And now it's all smoothed out, ready for the final body work. And now we got everything sealed up in DP50, which is a 2-part catalyst primer sealer that takes all the rust, any surface rust that's left, gets that straightened back up. You can see the doors all filled up, got all those holes done. We'll start smoothing out this firewall here next. And got the whole cab done. Floor panels put back in. Everything looks good. Still got to put the rocker on this side. I'm going to fill in this little gas cap hole, and we're going to move all the gas tank to the rear. And so everything's looking pretty clean now. I added up the time all together, and it was 52 hours to get all these patch panels put in. These holes here, I also filled and relocated these, so all the molding, I don't know if you can see it down the line here, but if all the molding will now fit. Drilled out a couple of holes that screws broke off. We filled in the gas tank holes where the gas tank doors were. So now the heavy lifting on all the body work, flattening all the panels begins.
Download the Resto-Rat app today to begin managing, tracking, and documenting your restoration project.